Welcome back into another video of the Arizona Sports Fan. Thank you so very much for coming back, guys. I really do appreciate it. Now, in this video, I want to talk about my top 3 positions the Arizona Cardinals should really look into building, whether it's the NFL draft or even through free agency. That's what we're going to go ahead and dive into today, guys. Let's go ahead and roll that intro. Guys, welcome back in. Now, like I mentioned in the intro, I do want to go ahead and talk about my top 3 positions for the Arizona Cardinals. What should we be focusing on in the draft as well as free agency? Now, it's so weird because after this year, after the 2020 season, I feel like there's just so much more questions to be answered to in terms of, do we have offensive tackles? Do we have a reliable safety? Obviously not including Buddha. What do our DBs look like? Are our wide receivers, great? I found myself asking a lot more questions leaving this season as opposed to last year's season. So it's super going to be weird. I understand we can go any which way, but I was able to dwindle it down to top 3 positions for the Arizona Cardinals to start rebuilding the roster, either with depth or new people coming in through the draft or through free agency. But before we get started, I do want to go ahead and mention to you guys, if you're new, please consider subscribing to the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. Can we do it? Yes, we absolutely can. Make sure you go ahead and hit that post notification bell on as well. And don't forget to drop a like, guys. That helps the channel grow out tremendously. I would definitely really appreciate it. Now, I also want to go ahead and talk about, I've seen a lot of people's comments out here. Are we going to start talking about the draft? Are we going to start talking about free agency? Absolutely. We are not in playoffs right now, but what we're going to talk about from here until the end of the draft is basically that. We will be talking about, draft, free agency, how much cap room we have. We will be discussing all that different stuff, have an open forum for you guys to discuss and all that different stuff. So I'm really excited about it, guys. Without further ado, let's go and just jump right into it here. My top position that I feel like the Arizona Cardinals needs to improve on or really look into, filling the need in this coming off season is going to be none other than the cornerback position, the DB position. The biggest reason is because Patrick Peterson, this is his last year with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, we don't know if we're going to re-sign him, franchise tag him, or anything like that. But the way that everything is kind of looking, there was no talks of, a contract extension during the 2020 season. I feel like Patrick Peterson is going to want a bigger number than the Arizona Cardinals is going to be willing to offer him. Now, I'm on that boat right now where I'm like, I think we should really start deciding to maybe move on from Patrick Peterson, especially these last 2 games that I really saw a different kind of look that I wasn't really impressed with. So DB is going to be my number 1 position that I feel like the Arizona Cardinals should really look into getting and helping that young secondary to really get better in this 2021 season. Buddha Baker can't do it alone, guys. Buddha Baker cannot do it alone. He needs some help back there. My number 2 position here, I want to go ahead and say wide receiver. Now, I said this was a big need last year. Now, if you guys weren't following the Arizona Sports Fan YouTube channel here last year, no problem. I was super gung-ho about CeeDee Lamb and drafting CeeDee Lamb. Now, when it came down to it, 8th overall pick came around, CeeDee Lamb was still on the board, along with, different cornerbacks that were available. But we ended up going the route of Isaiah Simmons, which actually it wasn't a bad route. The only thing that I really worried about behind my mind was, can the Arizona Cardinals develop a player like Isaiah Simmons? Now, what we've seen from Isaiah Simmons so far, he did some great stuff. He definitely had some highlights for the year, but his productivity didn't match up to what a first-round pick was. Now, I don't blame this on Isaiah Simmons. I blame this on the Cardinals organization, the coaching staff, and they misutilized what we could have done with him, especially when we had our debacle with who's going to play safety, and we ended up getting Curtis Riley and Deontay Thompson and all these different people that were swinging around when, Buddha Baker wasn't available for that one game. We really should have said to ourselves, Isaiah Simmons could probably play safety. Why not move him back there? But obviously that did not happen, but I'm really excited to see what Isaiah Simmons is going to, do for his career with the Arizona Cardinals. But let's move back over to my number 2 position, wide receiver. I feel like it's a big need to go ahead and fill opposite side of, DeAndre Hopkins. There's a lot of people last year that was wanting to see the development of Andy Isabella, Keyshawn Johnson, and Christian Kirk. I already seen enough what I've seen from Christian Kirk. I do not think he's a number 2 wide receiver. I don't think he's physical enough to be that number 2 wide receiver. We've seen it time and time again. He's had some explosive games during this year, no doubt. See him more as a slot type wide receiver, a number 3 wide receiver more than anything. Not a number 2. He's not a number 2 in my books. He's not physical enough to go ahead and beat the DB ever. So I want to go ahead and see if we can move him over to the slot and really focus on a wide receiver opposite side of DeAndre Hopkins, maybe getting somebody in the free agency market, or maybe even getting somebody in the draft as well. That is my number 2 position, something that we absolutely need to fill for the 2021 roster. Now for my number 3 position here, something that I really want the Arizona Cardinals to do, I'm kind of going back and forth with this one, whether it's defensive tackle or offensive lineman. Now for the defensive tackle, specifically the interior, like I really want to make sure that we get somebody that's going to be able to run stop and all that different stuff. Now, we do have Licky Fotu, and we also do have Rashad Lawrence. Really young, promising prospects. Hopefully, they're able to develop and see what we can go ahead and get with. So with that kept in mind, because we did get 2 back-to-back defensive tackles in the draft, I'm going to go ahead and shift my focus over to offensive line. So for my number 3, I want to make sure that the Arizona Cardinals solidify their offensive line. Now, personally, I think the offensive line did pretty okay. They didn't do the best, or definitely not the best line in the NFL, obviously. Kyler Murray was definitely still running for his life. Personally, I think Mason Cole's kind of questionable, but I do want the Arizona Cardinals to really focus on getting a tenured offensive tackle. Not like anybody old, but somebody that's ready to get their first contract in the NFL, not including their rookie deal. So someone like a 25, 26-year-old that's kind of hitting the open market and saying, hey, you know, go ahead and sign me. I'm 26 years old, hopefully durable, and we can go ahead and use him to go ahead and place in there to help protect Kyler Murray. Let's be honest here, Kyler Murray was running for his life a lot of the times. Yeah, his sack total was not the same as it was the year prior, but the offensive line definitely broke and Kyler Murray was running for his life a lot. So I definitely think that those are my top 3 positions and what we should really be focusing on for the 2021 season. Guys, so let me recap. We got DB, which is the cornerback position. We got wide receiver and then the offensive tackle. Top 3 things that we definitely need to solidify. I don't care if we go through the free agent route. I don't care if we go through the draft route or even a trading route. That can definitely very well be possible as well for Steve Keim to go ahead and pull off a trade. But that's really what I'm looking for this Cardinal to improve on dramatically. We have our franchise quarterback in Kyler Murray. Let's go ahead and see if we can take the next leap into the 2021 season, guys. Let me know what you guys think as to those positions. If you feel like something is definitely more valuable than those top 3, definitely put it in the comments below, guys. Don't forget to drop a like on this video, and if you're new, please consider subscribing to the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. That's all I got for this episode, guys. Thank you so very much for watching, and I am out. Thank you so much.